Alright, we're going to speed this up a bit. It is an Eald'Narche run, but it doesn't take that long, but we're speeding it up anyways. For this beginning, the boss is going to do his first attack here. I need the second attack to not target Terra. Mog will survive it, as you can see. Eald'Narche would have survived it with exoplates. This is actually a pretty RNG heavy beginning here to run this with a 4 ingot team, I believe I have. I'll come back to that. But yeah, it's pretty RNG heavy because the boss needs to not target Terra with that HP attack. And then I need to get the boss to target Eald'Narche, which is very difficult to do, so I got frustrated and just gave Eald'Narche Basch's call. And Eald'Narche needed to run this at, well, I guess 2-3 or higher, but I have him at 3-3 right now, because I need the phase shift to use terror, or to inflict a terror. So I do that here. Also, with Terra, a little bit earlier, I started with Meltdown instead of Meteor, because Meteor wouldn't have done that much damage. It would have done about the same amount of damage as Meltdown, due to the fact that the boss had no defense debuffs or anything like that. So I started with Meltdown. Anyways, it's rough to start this. Mog, because I have Mog's LD, starts with his overhead buff, and so in order for Eald'Narche to get the Leviathan Bravery Gen buff, Eald'Narche has to have his HP taken down enough to get it, and the boss's initial attack won't do that thanks to exoplates. So I need Eald'Narche to take a turn before Mog takes a turn, because as soon as Mog takes a turn, due to him starting with his overhead buff, he will automatically cleanse the HP poison off of everyone. And if Eald'Narche has not taken his turn yet, Eald'Narche will not get the Leviathan Bravery Gen buff, and that is quite important here. When to use Exceed Lance. Let me come back to that. Let me just get something out of the way here real quick. So, as you can kind of tell, I threw some tickets in for Mog. I had done this with a Mog using only his 35 CP weapon. Full summon boards, of course, but no... what are the other boards called? I don't know. Skill boards. Thank you, brain. Full summon boards, no skill boards. I ran this with only Mog's 35 CP, and had 2 runs where I got the boss down to 1% HP and just couldn't finish him off. So I said, screw it, I'm going to pull for Mog's EX, since his EX is pretty decent. It adds the 20% extra brave damage. And I said, whatever, no harm in that. It's still a budget run. I may not even have to realize Mog's EX. I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, I threw some tickets in, pulled Mog's LD after about 30 tickets, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want Mog's LD. And spoiler alert, I didn't. It's actually a little trickier to do this when you start with Mog's LD, due to the fact that it causes Mog to start with his overhead buff, which could cause Mog to cleanse before you want Mog to cleanse that HP poison, preventing Eald'Narche from getting the Bravery Gen buff from Leviathan. And B, it doesn't provide any Bravery Gen buffs like Mog's EX does. And C, it allows for the plus version of Mog's follow-ups, which gives a 30% chance to add confusion. It actually happens a lot. And I don't really want the boss to be inflicted with confusion because, A, I have Eald'Narche in here with Terror, and Terror is predictable, so I can strategize around it, whereas Confuse is not, and so I have to hope it lands, which I can kind of do in between terrors, I guess, but that's really luck-based, and you have to make sure you're paying attention. What will happen more often than not, though, is Confuse will push off the non-framed defense down debuff that Omega Javelin from Eald'Narche adds. So I typically don't want Confuse to land, and thanks to Mog's LD, it's going to land more often now. But I ended up throwing 200 tickets at Mog, got 3 of Mog's LDs, no Mog's EXs, and I said, screw it. I'm done with that. I was ticket capped anyway, so it's not a big deal for me, but that's how I came to have Mog's LD equipped without Mog's EX, and I'm still counting this as a budget run. Alright, so what's the plan? The plan is to get the Dalahan horse riding person in a box carried by horses down to pretty close to 79%, which he's about to be at. And then he will delay himself, which is nice of him to do. Or she, whatever. And then I want... Let's see, do I throw any debuffs on there? Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Krile's Call on Mog, which will provide 6 turns of party lightning enchant to everybody. And then Mog has a framed lightning and water debuff from Mog's 35 CP skill, or from Mog's second skill, the water one. Mog also can get it from Mog's dragon jump, or from Mog's jump with dragon... Bleh. Dragonhorn is not related to it. Mog can apply it with jump, but I did not build Mog's 15 CP weapons, so my Mog does not apply it with jump, which is fine because I really only want it applied in this one specific situation. But I want... Yeah, see, I came close to screwing this up because I want Mog's Dragonhorn buff, which was terribly named, but I want Mog's Dragonhorn buff up. Confused. I want Mog's Dragonhorn buff up because it provides speed down, which is very handy for this boss. And I guess, I think Mog's LD also causes Mog's overhead buff to provide speed down. I know it provides speed down, I'm just not sure at what point it does and doesn't. Anyways, where was I? I want Mog's framed lightning and water imperil debuff to go onto the enemy. And then I'm going to use Krile's Call with Mog, which if you're big-brained, you can time the Paralyze to land in between terrors, which I don't do this run. Plus, it's really easy to knock the Paralyze off due to it being non-framed. Mog's 265 as well, because Terra's going to hit big numbers. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to Chaos Wave with Terra and do lots and lots of damage. I'm waiting for the... I waited for the 79% or lower mark because the boss ups its defense at that point. And Terra's still going to hit for maximum damage, basically. Do I have Jack's debuff on there? Yeah, I also want to make sure Jack's debuff is on there. It's going to allow Terra to hit for maximum damage despite the defense down. And so I might as well take advantage of that while I can, or well, I really need to more. And Terra will still hit really hard below the 49% mark, which is when the boss ups its defense again. We're going to use Jack's Ninja Slice because I don't want to forget to use it like I have done in previous runs. This isn't the 100% most efficient way of using Chaos Wave due to the fact that Chaos Wave adds 5 to Terra's Magicite buff. See, look at that damage. Anyways, and this is all with 1 ingot. But anyways, not the most efficient use of Chaos Wave, but I still end up doing it because, A, I don't have to worry about the orb just yet, and Mog's triggering the orb with Mog's follow-up attacks, or buffing the orb with Mog's follow-up attacks. But A, I don't have to worry about the orb, and B, I don't want Jack's debuff to wear off, which it will wear off if I give the boss a couple more turns. I think 3 more turns and then it wears off. So, yeah, even regular meteors still hitting for maximum for really high damage there. So I want to get as many meteors in between the Chaos Waves as I can get away with, so that way I take more advantage of the fact that Chaos Wave adds to Terra's Magicite buff. So that way I can get more magic meteors instead of regular meteor pluses. Another thing I need to keep in mind is I do not want Jack's debuff to fall off before I summon, so that way I can get a few extra turns of Jack's debuff being on there. And if I was really big-brained, although I had a lot of trouble timing this properly, what I could do is I could time it so that Krile's party call that's happening underneath Mog, the one he has 5 turns left of, does it. So I wait until that wears off before I summon, because Leviathan enchants everybody with water damage in the summon, and Mog is providing water in peril. And so it's a bit redundant to have both Krile's party buff and go into the Leviathan summon, which is very difficult to do if you use Krile's call first. In hindsight, I probably could have summoned first, but then I'd have to, use Terra's Chaos Wave in summon to take full advantage of the Imperil and enchant, and it feels just bad to do that. I'm going to serial jump with Mog whenever I think I can get the most damage from it, so that's going to be while Jack still has, or we still have Jack's debuff on there, as well as an Imperil. And the reason for that is I want Mog to be able to use regular jump as soon as possible, or not so much as soon as possible, but just when Mog's going to need it. Because the multi-jump, or serial jump, what a terrible name, because serial jump does not apply the Dragonhorn buff to Mog. Why can't they name anything right on Mog? Although I guess I can see Dragonhorn, because the Dragonhorn was an accessory you used in Final Fantasy VI, which gave you multiple jumps when you use jump. And that's absolutely not even close to what it does in this game, so I don't know. Anyways, I want Mog to get back to regular jump so that Mog can reapply the Dragonhorn buff to himself when needed, because serial jump does not apply it. So yeah, I pause here a lot before deciding to Meteor or Chaos Wave, but I sped the video up, so whatever. So, let's see, we still have all the debuffs up properly. So, on the boss's next turn, we will lose Jack's debuff, we will lose Mog's water and lightning and peril debuff, which is fine. Why am I Moogle marching? Probably to get lots of damage compared to Mog's other skills. Anyways, once the Krile call wears off, the Krile call effect wears off, I don't really care to have the water and lightning enchant debuff on the boss anymore, because it takes up a valuable slot. And we have a defense down debuff we could be applying, and a speed down debuff we could be applying, and stupid confusion, which we could also be applying. And the water, lightning, and peril is taking up one of those slots. So yeah, I'm just going to let it wear off, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to reapply it, which is one of the nice things about not having Mog's 15 CP weapon fully realized and equipped, is I can use Mog's jump without reapplying the debuff. I only apply it on Mog's skill 2 right now with my setup, and that's fine. I'm just never going to use that skill for the rest of the fight. So here I should summon. Yep, there we go. Yeah, the magic meteors without the Chaos Wave buff don't hit quite so hard, but we're getting close to the end here. So, hitting hard enough, I guess. I'll make sure I don't forget to use my remaining calls. I think I still have Basch. No need to use Vortex Plus due to the fact that Terra is still on there. Now, I didn't talk about it earlier, and I don't remember if I do it again or not, but one of the things I did differently with this run with Eald'Narche that I haven't done in the past, and I probably should have in hindsight, is I use Eald'Lance while there's still one turn of Terror left on the boss. What that allows Eald'Lance to do is still... Yeah, see, I'll do it here. No, I won't. What that allows Eald'Lance to do is to do the HP dumps. There's 3 HP dumps, which is increased by 20% by Terror. But if you wait for Terror to fall off, then you don't get the extra 20% from it when you use Eald'Lance. However, you will most likely get an extra, lose a turn of Warp when you use Eald'Lance while Terra is still on the enemy, due to the fact that you will have to C65 the next turn or lose the free C65 from the free ability that Eald'Narche gives you. I'm assuming that made no sense, so maybe I'll talk about it in a later video. But that's kind of a trade-off you have to make if you want Eald'Narche to take advantage of the extra HP damage the Terra debuff applies. And so if it's early in the fight, and Eald'Narche is already hitting really, really hard anyways, I wouldn't do it. I would instead use Eald'Narche on one of the free turns that Eald'Narche gets, assuming Eald'Narche is going to get another turn before the boss gets a turn after that. And then I would use the free C65 on Eald'Narche's regular turn, and then use Terra after it. But I guess it's difficult to talk hypotheticals with Eald'Narche, or regarding Eald'Narche, without it happening in front of us, so I'll save that for another Eald'Narche run, which I'm sure I will do because I run Eald'Narche a lot. I heard Excalibur has a 45-minute how-to Eald'Narche video. I'm gonna have to check that out. I heard it on BC's stream last night. That's a long how-to video. I wonder if it's if it warrants that length, but I'll find out when I take a look. So what are we doing here? We basically just have to do enough damage. I'm not worried about the orb, because every time Mog gets a turn, as long as you don't just brave attack with Mog, you're going to get the follow-up, which will add 7 to the orb. Basically, we need to kill the boss before Eald'Narche runs out of terror uses. So that's what I need to do. So yeah, there was the Eald'Narche on the free turn from Warp, and then the C65 on the standard turn, and then I think I just did a brave attack because they still have one more turn of terror left. So there I got to do both. Get some extra damage that way. Pretty sure that's what I did. I speed things up myself sometimes. Vortex Plus still hitting really hard, even though there's only one enemy. Although they weakened this enemy for the Abyss run. They mercifully weakened this enemy. I guess I'll mention this too. Somebody else, I wonder if a few people have done it now, but I know there's some runs on Call to Arms where they take a bronze Mog, so no Mog weapons, or very few Mog weapons, and it has, with a fully built Eald'Narche and fully built Terra, and I think Terra's Burst, I don't know, and then they do the whole run that way, which is a great way to do it, especially if you didn't pull for Mog and you have no interest in pulling for Mog, although we'll see what the next Abyss brings. I actually have no spear users fully built. My Arnea does not have an LD, which I kind of wish in hindsight I did, but whatever. I don't wish it enough to be bothered by it. And oh, they have a confuse. Who cares? I will say, using Eald'Narche runs out of pairs, it's nice to get that one random extra confuse. It's funny seeing Mog actually do damage when I did several runs with Mog doing no damage before I threw tickets at Mog. What else should I talk about? Oh, I think I had a jump there where I had to... Oh, I know, my video stopped recording. My video recorder automatically stops at like 25 minutes or something, which won't be 25 minutes to this video because I sped it up. But it doesn't give me a warning, it just like randomly stops, and so I have to try and pause the game as soon as I can and then start recording again, which sucks, but whatever. care anymore, but the boss is going to die. I'll probably use Mog's jump here because I just don't care, because the boss is going to die. I got it confused. So the boss actually doesn't have Terra on right now, but does have Warp. So what I can do here is I can let the boss be stunned by the Confuse, and then on Eald'Narche's free turn, reapply the Terror. Although, yeah, see, using Vortex Plus might have actually just killed the boss on the previous turn, but whatever. Boss is dead. And the score has been reached. Turn count doesn't matter. Oh, so let's see. 3 ingots on Eald'Narche, 1 ingot on Terra, and Mog is confusing. Not confusing, just complicated. Mog has no EX. Or armor. Now I think about it, I didn't give Mog any 5-star armor or whatever. Just has Bartz's hat. Which is kind of funny. Thank you very much for watching.